Before I begin, if it's okay, I just like to give thanks to FEPS, the Freedom Education Project, Computed Sound, the IF Project, and Evergreen Tacoma, all you guys, for all the support that without would have most definitely shifted the position that I'm in today. So thank you guys. Also, I want to share with you that just yesterday, I learned from my grandma that my peepaw, my great grandfather, he was forced out of school in the third grade and made to work the fields. So my accomplishment today, this milestone, means even more to me than it already has. Okay. I say their names often as a reminder to stay focused when things become tough or seemingly impossible. Ramona, MB Rose, Sanel, Sharon, Emotion, and Carl. 3 generations of family that were never able to walk across the stage and hear their names called for graduating high school or college. 3 generations that never got to reach their educational potential or break the chains of poverty. 3 generations that did not believe higher education was obtainable and or necessary. The family inheritance is what I like to call it. Aristotle once said, "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act but a habit." A habit. In order to strive for excellence and to break the flawed educational patterns of my family, choosing to work hard and continuously learning are my only options, the only way to stop the repetition of failure. Overcoming the foster care system and homelessness, to overcoming the discrimination of being a non-heterosexual woman of color, and even 13 and a half years of incarceration, all have been major challenges that I've been able to overcome and still maintain the course of my educational dreams. This remedy was and always has been staying focused, passionate, and having disciplined study habits. These steps have been preparing me for excellence and for change. My lived experience prior to becoming an Evergreen student, to be honest, was one of survival. My earliest memory is when I was about 3 years old and my brother Deshay was 1.5. I remember us sitting on the kitchen floor and feeding him pieces of Cheerios from a box that I had accidentally spilled over because we were hungry. Our parents were at home and our pit bull guard was our babysitter again. Addiction. Addiction had ravaged through my family as it did for a lot of people of color in low-income families in the 70s and 80s. This addiction, I believe, eventually led to the kidnapping of my little brother Deshay soon after, what I deemed our last fiasco, our Cheerio feast. This particular memory is important for me because my brother and I wouldn't meet again until the summer of my 14th year. And most years that I can remember, I used to always wish that I had been kidnapped right along with him to escape all the horrors that I had encountered. You see, when he finally returned and met our mother, grandmother, uncles, grandfather, they were all in the same state of addiction or greater. We had a brief show and tell, catch up, and it was back to business as usual for them, cooking the spoon. Being in constant survival mode from what seemed like day one of birth was extremely exhausting. I loved my family, but at the same time, I held on to resentment toward them because I believed that they had chosen to be poor and that they chose drugs over us. It wasn't until 2009 or so when I was blessed to cross paths with Dr. Shepard while I was incarcerated at WCCW, and I was introduced to the sociological imagination, social forces and factors for the first time, that I realized that there was more to the choices my parents and other family members made. And to better understand them, I needed to better understand those social forces and factors that they were confronted with and had to face, such as institutional racism, systemic oppression, redlining, gentrification, and the miseducation system. I was able to release years of resentment just from being brave enough to enroll into one class and by learning and understanding the sociological concepts. It was then that I became passionate about urban planning and really believing that I had the power to affect change. And it was then that I was able to come to the conclusion that there are legit reasons why I'm a first generation high school and college graduate. Now, to answer the question, why Evergreen? My response is simply, why not? While I was incarcerated, the first college professor to give us women a shot at a higher education and to bring hope and meaning back into our lives represented Evergreen Tacoma, and I wanted to one day represent the Tacoma campus as well. My path at Evergreen has prepared me for my intended major in various connected fields by allowing me to learn foundational concepts, interdisciplinary awareness, and skills crucial to urban planning. The lenses of sociology, toxicology, environmental justice, mathematics, and even political science have all provided me with a deeper insight of how to navigate in a toxic environment en route to building a healthier and more sustainable community. My coursework and assignments have also laid a foundation for me to critically look at urban planning from an interdisciplinary lens. Through this work, I have enhanced my research skills, critical and creative thinking skills, and my ability to examine urban areas from an inclusive and equity frame of reference. For instance, I'm able to recognize bias and address ambiguity better, as well as acknowledge and appreciate ethical concerns. My education has urged me to acknowledge the complexity of the human condition because the world, our object of inquiry, is not merely Black and white. With the accomplishment of earning my bachelor's degree, I can proudly change the names of my motivational focus from past generations to ones of the future. All of my siblings, Deshae, Dante, Heavenly Rose, Kendrick, Quilana, and Karja Lee, as well as my nieces and nephews, Clarence, Kiasmin, Romeo, Serenity Rose, Real, No Fly Lee. The chains have finally broken, my loves, and our family inheritance has shifted. So who's next? Thank you.